Funding for This Is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Music City Prep Clinic, Nashville-based provider for PrEP and offering comprehensive sexual health services in an environment designed to be safe, professional, and shame-free. Learn more at musiccityprep.org.
I'm Khalil Ekulona, and this is Nashville. Do you keep hot sauce in a travel bag or your purse? How about that little compartment in your car? Do you know where your hot sauce is, but not your house keys? It's okay. There's no judgment here. We get it. For people who enjoy hot sauce, sometimes it's the only thing you can think about when it's time to eat. Nashvillians have been enjoying hot chicken for generations, and now there are dozens of local hot sauce recipes to enjoy. Is hot sauce the next Nashville thing? Maybe. Either way, later this hour, we're going to test out some of what local makers have to offer. But first, the state's low-income healthcare insurance program, TennCare, is preparing to resume income and address eligibility checks for the first time since the pandemic. Now, TennCare itself handles the process of making sure people still qualify, but the agency also funds an outside unit dedicated to rooting out potential fraud. And it's been much more aggressive than other states. But WPLN's senior reporter, Blake Farmer, has found out that even after millions of dollars spent each year, the agency has little to show for it, other than slapping Tennesseans with a bunch of felonies. Now, he joins us now. Hey, Blake, how are you?
I'm all right. We're not going to talk hot sauce?
You can come back and try something.
I'm not
an
expert.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm not either, but you're down. I'll save some for you after the show. How about that?
All right.
Okay, so you interviewed a woman named LaShawna Ingram who got caught up in TennCare's aggressive enforcement tactics. Tell us, what is she accused of?
Yeah, no, I actually, for the last, 6 months or so, have been sort of keeping in touch with several folks who have been charged, arrested for TennCare fraud. So this has become pretty common, especially where LaShawna lives in Shelby County. So this is Memphis. And if you've ever spent much time in Memphis, you know that the southern suburbs are in Mississippi. In fact, there's some parts of what you might call Memphis. There's West Memphis, which is in Arkansas. So she's actually from the Mississippi side. Horn Lake is where. And she was accused of being on TennCare while being a resident of Mississippi. And Medicaid programs, even though, like here in Tennessee, it's 2/3 funded by the federal government, but they are state-based. So you have to be a resident of the state where you're on the Medicaid program, which is TennCare here. Now, in Ingram's case, she actually was living in Tennessee and ended up showing prosecutors documentation to prove it. She and her husband had gotten divorced, and so they did that in Mississippi, and she used that address while they were getting divorced. She figures that maybe that's what flagged the system somehow, but they had been separated for years, she told me, and she was in Tennessee when she had Medicaid and was able to get out of the charges, but it's been a saga.
Now, Tennessee's Inspector General's office didn't just flag her for potential fraud, but you reported they also put her on, quote, a most wanted list. I mean, that sounds so intense.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's this most wanted list. Many people may have seen that TennCare has put out for, more than 15 years. And in talking to the Office of Inspector General, these are basically people they are trying to arrest for TennCare fraud, but have not been able to find them in at least 90 days. So essentially publicize them with this most wanted list. And sometimes they're accused of some fairly serious crimes, like maybe using TennCare benefits to get lots of high-powered narcotics and selling them on the street. But, in more recent years, the reason I was looking into this story in the first place was I noticed there's a lot more folks who are like LaShawna Ingram who seem to be, at worst, accused of moving out of state without telling TennCare.
I mean, well, how is this list used?
Well, the list is it's posted on the internet, and alerts are sent out to the media like us, and we see that there are folks on the most wanted list. But the problem is anyone can see this list, and so it's potentially damaging to these folks who end up on the list, but maybe have a way to explain themselves and get out of these charges.
I mean, is this what the Inspector General's office was created for, to go after what are essentially clerical errors?
Well, I was looking back into the early days of when this office was created, and at the time, the big issue was drug diversion. In other words, people using their TennCare benefits, going around hitting a bunch of emergency departments, getting a bunch of Percocet, hydrocodone, OxyContin, and selling them. I mean, essentially drug dealers. Those were the cases they were going after. Very few of them were these residency cases, or some of them also are like, do you have those children in custody that you reported to the state, which would make you eligible for TennCare?
Okay, so how much is it costing taxpayers to fund this office?
Well, the budget for this office is about $6 million, $6.4 million, though a state spokesperson did note to me that the office in many years doesn't spend all that it is budgeted for. But $6 million, that's the budget.
How much do they typically recoup from these investigations?
Well, I'll tell you, they're not really bragging about that in these press releases that they send out. They often will talk about like an all-time figure that since the office was created in 2005, they've recouped, $9 million or so. They also make the claim that they've saved the state millions of dollars, perhaps, in these people no longer being on TennCare. But you wouldn't necessarily have to arrest folks and charge them with a felony in order to do that. You could just cut off their benefits.
What did the Inspector General's office have to say about all this?
Well, the Inspector General of the Office of Inspector General is a guy named Chad Holman. And, I kind of put him on the spot about it, especially this most wanted list, which you really do not find in other states. Here he is.
You're trying to locate them to hold them accountable for the crime that they have been alleged. I won't even say that they did. I'll say that they have been alleged to have committed. That's why we have that, to get the information out there. It's not to blast anyone or defame anyone. It's to simply take care of the business that's at hand, hold people accountable, and do what we're here to do. That's what we do it for.
But most states don't do that.
Well, I'm not most states. I'm Tennessee. I'm doing my job. That's all I have to worry about.
Wow. It was really putting people on Front Street, as the kids say.
The thing is, the question I'm asking there is, do you really need to be going after these folks? And maybe it's a tough one to answer.
Now, do you expect lawmakers to take a closer look at how much it's costing the state to fund this office?
I do think there is an argument for taking another look because, as we discussed, when this office began, they were so focused on drug diversion, which was a really big issue, and especially at that time. Chad Holman there says it is still important to have this office, in his view, because it does act as a deterrent. That people who are getting on TennCare, understand that getting these benefits by fudging on your forms is illegal. In fact, it is a felony. But it's certainly not bringing the kind of money back into the state that lawmakers probably believed. I actually ran across a letter that the OIG sent to state lawmakers updating. It was a report updating their Cash for Tips program. They will pay $200 or $300 for tips that lead to a conviction. And they said that not only were there no payments made in that year, it was 2021 they were talking about, they had only paid out $300 since they even started in 2005, which I think it was pretty surprising to me that so few of these tips even result in convictions. So, it certainly seems ripe for a discussion, especially at this moment when TennCare is about to go back and review income and addresses for all 1.7 million people who are on its rolls right now.
So how's LaShawna doing now?
She's okay. She was certainly nervous about talking about her situation. I mean, how could you blame her? She says it's embarrassing. She's had these charges dropped, but, there's still a press release out there floating around with her mugshot calling her, most wanted, and that she'd, been eluding authorities for TennCare fraud, which sounds like it could be a big thing until you look a little closer and hear her out. And I don't know, it doesn't even appear that the state takes down those press releases and materials depending on the outcome of these cases.
That's WPLN's senior healthcare reporter, Blake Farmer. Blake, as always, thanks for being here, and thank you for your reporting.
You're welcome.
We have to take a short break. When we come back, we'll turn to a growing trend among foodies in our town. Hot sauce. What's your favorite Nashville hot sauce? And do you keep hot sauce in your purse or briefcase? Be honest. Tweet us at This Is Nashville. We'll be right back.
Funding for This Is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Music City Prep Clinic, Nashville-based provider for PrEP and offering comprehensive sexual health services in an environment designed to be safe, professional, and shame-free. Learn more at musiccityprep.org.
I'm Khalil Ekulona, and this is Nashville. Hot sauce can be a more divisive topic than you might think. About 7 years ago, I saw two men almost come to blows over which sauce was better, Tapatio or Cholula. I'm serious, I saw it all go down. And let's not even get into the Louisiana hot sauce or Tabasco argument. That's for another day. Today is all about the growing trend of local hot sauces and how a city known for hot chicken is developing a scene for its own sauces. My next guests are here to give us the lay of the land. Clay Maddox is the owner of Nashville Hot Sauces. He's joined by Chris Cheng, co-owner of Hot Sauce Nashville, and Jeremy Lister, owner of Blister Hot Sauce. Thanks to you all for being here. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
This is really great. So, I'm really curious about how you all got your start in the hot sauce game. Clay, let's start with you. How did you get started in it?
I was in the restaurant business for years. I had a restaurant in Franklin called Swanky's Taco Shop. And one of the kitchen guys that I had there had developed his own line of hot sauces. He had never really processed them or anything, but he always kept trying to use them in the restaurant. And after I got left there, it had been a few years. I was eating at a local Nashville establishment before a high school football game one night, back when my son was still in high school. And place was kind of promoting how it had farm to table food, local fresh baked bread. It's kind of focused on local crafted beers, local distilled spirits. And then when you sat down at the table with all of that local stuff in front of you, they had a bottle of Louisiana hot sauce on the table. And it just kind of rung a bell and made me think, of all the things, the kind of one of the strongest flavors and the last thing you see is not local. Hot chicken, Nashville hot chicken was kind of, I'm not going to say in its infancy because it's been around for a long time, but the craze as far as getting the term outside of Nashville was still kind of in its infancy. And had stayed in touch with my friend from the restaurant, kind of called him and said, hey, let's talk about your hot sauces again. We went from 12 recipes that he had and narrowed that down to about 6 or 7. From those, we cut it down to 4. Kind of combined that with the idea that being in Nashville being a growing city, having lived in Nashville since 2001, definitely a local citizen, wanted to welcome growth and kind of ride some of the train that was already built on the growth of Nashville. Also being partially involved with a side business in the music industry, and it always being, a big hobby as it is for many of us. I kind of tied all of that together to the brand with Nashville Heat, using the guitar pick and the tagline, put some twang on that thing.
Nice.
And then went out with the focus of trying to get into local owned shops, local owned gift stores, places that kind of focused on the Nashville brand or local products, and local restaurants as well. And that's kind of where my focus has been ever since. It some places comes and goes based on a variety of factors. But I've had about 10 or 12 solid anchor places that have kind of helped push my business into third-party things, as well as just keeping me out on the fronts of their shelves and using me with samples and things of that nature. So don't know if I went a little too far, but that was kind of how I got into it and where it's gotten me at this point.
Well, tell me, what is, you don't have to give us any trade secrets at all, but what's your recipe?
It's got a lot of love. We play music to the peppers all day, every day.
Nice.
I mean, no, there's only so many ways to make hot sauce. You're using, or we're all probably using some of the same base ingredients when it comes down to pepper and vinegar and a few other things to kind of make it into a sauce. The goal that I went at it with when we started the recipes was to not taste like something that was already out there. You're obviously competing. Hot sauce is hot sauce, but we didn't want to just duplicate something else and say, yeah, this tastes just like that, or this tastes just like that.
Mm-hmm. Now, Jeremy,
so we wanted some uniqueness. And the other thing was despite the fact that it's one of the major ingredients, we wanted to try to lower the impact of the vinegar flavor.
Okay.
So there were a few that we had made that the vinegar just really jumped out. And I immediately there were some good things about them, but it just wasn't something I wanted to put in our corner. So I don't know that we succeeded at that. Again, it's impossible to make it without doing that, but we wanted to hit that intent.
All right. Well, Jeremy, how about you? You've always been a lover of spicy foods, right?
Very much so. So Blister is owned by me and both of my brothers, and we grew up in Mississippi, like 45 minutes from Louisiana, and loving all things salty, all things hot. We're big fans of the movie Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark, and the opening scene has them doing shots back and forth, and me and my brothers would reenact that with pickle juice and hot sauce when we were kids.
Okay.
So we were big fans of like challenging each other to eat spicier, salty, or tangy things. And as we got older and became adults, we became foodies and loved experimenting with things. And I'm also in the music world, and I used to have a branded hot sauce that a friend of mine from Mississippi made. It was called Lister Blister hot sauce in the mid-2000s. And then my older brother really got into gardening and smoking foods. And I guess around 2018, I went over to his house. He's like, try this hot sauce. And he'd made a smoked hot sauce out of jalapenos and poblanos. And I tried it, and I was just like, this is amazing. I've never had anything like this before. Mm-hmm. And so we started letting our friends try it, and then it kind of became like sort of a, out the side door business. And then everyone was like, you need to make this legit. So we sent Reggie to school, and then started selling hot sauce in 2019. And now it's been fun to watch it grow.
Did you all know what you were doing when you first started?
No. It's been so much trial and error, especially on the business side of things. But it's been a lot of fun.
Now, Chris, you were born and raised here, and I understand that you got your decision to develop your own hot sauce. It was inspired by your travels. Is that right?
It was. My wife and I, we were born and raised here. It's the two of us who make all the hot sauce together. And we have not in the food world at all, and no experience. I was an Army Ranger officer before this, and then my wife was a nurse. She started her first nursing job. She was a NICU nurse here at Vanderbilt. But then when I was deployed stationed around the country and around the world, whenever we were at home, we would go to the local farmers markets. So, for example, I was stationed at, I think, Fort Carson, Colorado, outside Colorado Springs, and then down in Fort Benning, Georgia, and then up in school in Massachusetts. And making new friends and seeing new places, we found like the best place for us to meet people and get a literal and figurative taste of the city was going to the farmers markets. Mm-hmm. And so we just fell in love with that kind of local food community. The people are always so welcoming and warm, and you can really just drop the barriers and especially today, just have a chance to have a one-to-one interaction with someone and learn about the craftsmanship that goes into making food. And so when we were living in Boston, I was back in school, and Chelsea was teaching at a local community college there. And so we had the summer, I wouldn't say off, but I was able to get a grant for us to explore this interest some. And so we ended up doing a farmer's market, I guess, road tour. We packed our little CRV up in Boston and then drove, I think it was a little over 12,000 miles, like from Boston to Seattle, down to San Diego. We even took a flight out to the Big Island. One of my old Army bosses was the colonel out there, hosted us, took us a bunch of farmers markets around there, saw coffee beans, a lot of the fruits. And then we came back and kind of cut the hypotenuse across the country back to Boston. So it went over the whole summer, and we didn't have much money, so we always stand. We love national parks and state parks, but it's also great. We just camp out there when we could, and then go to the farmers markets all through. I think we've been to over like 100 plus farmers markets around the country in the world. And so we finished up in Boston in I think 2018, and we moved back home, and we weren't exactly sure what we wanted to do, but we know we wanted to be a part of the kind of farmers market community space, and we had grown to love spicy foods when we were living in Boston and around, and especially when I was deployed, like so much times I would love having hot sauce and was never discriminatory about it. A Tapatio, Texas Pete, Valentina, any of the ones I was welcome to have. But at one time, I think someone had sent over a garlic derivative of, I believe, Texas Pete or Cholula. It always, and I fell in love with it there. And Chelsea's an amazing creative cook, and we love experimenting with different things in the kitchen. And so it was one of our dreams to make our first one was our garlic hot sauce. And so we were here when we started making up. We, again, the classic story, we were crashing in her parents' basement and just putting them through the ringer of blending peppers and stuff down in their basement of some of the sense. And so we started joining our farmers market community here, and we work out of a commercial kitchen in East Nashville. We're still there with Jeremy and his brothers. They work out of there as well, a Citizens Kitchen. And now, we were able to do our dream. We were at I think at one point in the pandemic, we were at 8 different farmers markets throughout the week. Like we'd split up on Saturdays, split up on Tuesdays. And that's kind of how we fell in love with making it.
That's interesting. There really seems to be a growing hot sauce scene here in Nashville. Our local markets are full of Nashville hot sauce options. How did that happen, Clay?
Well, that's a great question. How did all of them end up there? I don't know. I think in general, Nashville over 20 years since I moved there, growth in general, it's come from everywhere. I moved there from Memphis, and someone told me a joke right before I moved there. They said, one of the things you learn in Memphis when you meet a new person is they say, where'd you go to high school? One of the things you learn in Nashville when you meet a new person is they say, where'd you move here from? It couldn't have been more true. And it certainly grew more and more true over the last 20 years or so. So I think you get people moving to a town like Nashville, and with so many different cultures, people coming from different parts of the country, you get that thing where everybody kind of starts their own restaurant. You get different stuff on the corner that you may not have had a group of people not moved there from some other part of the country or the world.
Now hot chicken it's like really it's the city's claim to fame, and local eaters are known to like some spice. Do you think that being so accustomed to having kick, do you think that helped the interests in hot sauces grow here?
Oh, totally. That's what I was just about to get to, is that not only did you have all those people moving here, but at the same time you had this burst of Nashville hot chicken kind of, again, I grew up in Memphis. Barbecue is a claim to fame there, and there's a pride behind it. Nashville has hot chicken in the way that Memphis has barbecue. So being able to have kind of a unique food, a unique flavor, and a spice that, gives it some excitement, which is also something that Nashville was really striving for with the growth of downtown and the entertainment and everything else that we've all seen happen. Having that spice was something the city was kind of proud of. So there was something there for hot sauce just to fester in and grow, whether any of the guys here on this conversation got involved in it or not. I think it was kind of inevitable, and we all probably had some similar entrepreneurial vision and or some love and passion for sauce, and just kind of found it as a good place to get our feet wet.
Now, Jeremy, do you think hot sauce is having a moment here?
I think it's on the rise. I have a lot of high hopes for the community. I think the fact that we were asked to do this today is pretty serendipitous. I went out to eat with Chris and Chelsea on Tuesday, specifically to talk about how can we grow the community. I've found the most success I've had in the music world is not being competitive, but building a community. So if we're all kind of pulling each other up, some beautiful things can happen, and everyone thrives. And so I'm pleased with where things are now, but I would love to see things like a hot sauce festival instead of a hot chicken festival, and some things maybe we can start to help grow the community.
A hot sauce festival along with a hot chicken festival. We can't get rid of hot chicken out here.
No.
That would be the end of days.
That would definitely stick around, but as well as.
Yes. There we go. If you're just tuning in, this is Nashville, and I'm your host, Khalil Ekulona. We're talking this hour about the growing local hot sauce trend with local makers Clay Maddox, Jeremy Lister, and Chris Chang. Tweet us your favorite hot sauces at This Is Nashville. Now, it can't be a simple process to make hot sauce. I wonder how many variations you all had to come up with before you knew you had something good. Clay, you talked about starting off from 12, moving down to 7, and then getting to 4. Give me some of the details about what that research and development process was like for you.
Well, most of it was being fortunate to have somebody who had some history and some experience in tasting and trying them out on their own. And then just doing a taste test with excuse me, probably, I don't know, 10 or 12 people came over one night. We grilled some chicken out and we just kind of threw them all on there, and everybody gave opinions. And that's how we narrowed it down to the initial 7. I run with 4 under the Nashville Heat brand. I actually have a charity wing that is through a company called Guitars for Vets. And what that charity does is it raises money to purchase guitars and guitar lessons for veterans who are coming home from war, so they can take that daily regimen programming that's gone towards being soldiers and turn that into something creative and artistic. And it kind of helps put the tools into their hands. I was a huge fan of that when I heard that charity existed. So we put together a flavor and a specific brand for them that's called Snake Eater. That was one of the flavors we had already thought about using. So having that available made it easy to kind of co-brand that. And then I had a couple of other flavors that were those types of things that we liked them, but it was the stuff that it was so hot that my fear was people would buy one bottle and never buy another one, because it would be more of a challenge thing than it would be something people wanted to put on all of their food items. Mm-hmm. Turned out I was wrong. We've used a couple of those flavors. We've co-branded with a band based out of Chicago. They're a jam band called Humphreys McGee. They use 4 of our flavors for their personal merch brand of Humphreys McGee hot sauces as well. So I've been able to use all 7 of those through some kind of different avenues. And I still have the other 5 kind of on the back burner if something comes up and we want to do a special brand or something like that. But the 4 I chose to go with, they're all kind of unique. They have a very specific difference about them that makes them stand out from the other 3. And that was, kind of why I settled on 4, as well as why I settled on the different ones that I did for kind of mass production and the idea of getting them on the shelves.
Okay, if you need taste testers for those other ones that you haven't released yet, you know who to hit up. Now, Jeremy, you grow some of your own peppers, right?
We do, yeah. We've, grown quite a bit in the last 4 or 5 years. So we get a lot of ours from local farms and either in local markets here in town. But the specialty peppers, we grow quite a bit of our own Carolina Reaper.
What are some of the other varieties you're using?
So we use poblano, Anaheim, jalapeno, habanero, and Carolina Reaper. Yeah.
How do you determine which peppers to use?
I think it's sort of a trial and error sort of thing. My older brother, Richie, really kind of stumbled upon the first 2 recipes. We didn't change them very much. Maybe just the level of smokiness and maybe the portions just a hair, but he just sort of magically stumbled upon our original hot sauce and our jalapeno business, and one's a milder profile, which is going to be a poblano, which is a really tasty pepper in my opinion. And I think that one, because all those peppers are unripened, they have more of a zesty, savory thing. But then you get to the original, and we wanted something that had a little bit of fruitiness, but also a nice little spice level. And the habanero is actually kind of a sweet pepper, but with a nice kick on the back end.
Okay. Now, Chris, are there other foods besides peppers that can add spice to a sauce?
Ooh, we're always experimenting. I think, we have... my father's from Hong Kong, and we were wanting to do something fun that we could use with our different foods that we eat at home. And so we have a ginger flavor sauce that we make. We have carrots, yellow bell peppers, habaneros. Again, like Jeremy said, the habaneros have such a delicious, sweet, spicy taste to them. And then we use a healthy dose of ginger, which I think on its own, it's not going to burn your mouth off, but it kind of very much accentuates to it. And so I love using that one, just dipping spring rolls and egg rolls in that. We have a lot of customers will put in their stir fry when they're cooking. And then even my wife will mix it with honey and soy sauce and make an Asian ginger glaze. And that our newest flavor, kind of our experimental seasonal we did in the past couple summers was we have one called Hot Tropic, and it's pineapple, mango, habanero, and then my favorite part, slow roasted banana peppers. And it was something interesting. It wasn't meant to be. It ended up being, I think, our spiciest sauce that we make, even though it's got similar amounts of capsaicin from the peppers. Something about the acidity mixing with the sweetness, it comes off on your tongue. It's great on fish tacos. It definitely is right on that perimeter for me of just ooh, ah. So it's so different the way we're starting to learn and see how different foods combine with the capsaicin, the spices, how it really can hit your tongue. And I think one thing for us, not coming from the food world, and just being, again, very like bootstrapped, we had just gotten a ton of books from the Nashville Public Library on peppers, pickling, food. And so I think going back to the design or the trial and error process that Jeremy was talking about, I mean, I think our first one was like 52B version, and each version like 17C, terrible, 23A, decent. And then my mother-in-law is one of the most picky, or how should I say, discerning individuals I know. And one night we tried it for dinner, and she was like, "Oh, this is perfect." And I was like, "I've never heard you say that before about anything."
So you knew, go to market immediately.
That was it. That was the moment.
Now, Clay, you're keeping your brand relatively local. Tell me, why is that important to you?
Part of it is I don't want to put myself in a situation where I am unable to achieve success. There's a certain point of production ability and commitment to the people who've helped me get to where I am, as well as my ability to just maintain and manage a healthy inventory. My fear is if I end up expanding too much further than just the Nashville market, that I lose the kind of local punch that is the whole reason that I did it. And B, I don't want to find myself spread so thin that I'm unable to fulfill orders. And then it turns into failure. I'm hoping to do some expansion. I've got a couple of things quite literally in the works this month that will hopefully provide me, some good anchors and the ability to kind of spread a little bit more in Tennessee. But ideally, there's a lot of hot sauces in Kroger and Publix, and there's a lot of people out there who like hot sauce, and there's a lot of really good hot sauces. But what my whole goal was, and again, the thing that rang my bell was everything about when I started the company was this restaurant sold everything local and had a non-local hot sauce. And I remember when I was growing up as a kid, there was a bunch of marketing for New York where people had T-shirts or bumper stickers that all had I Heart NY, and it made New York kind of seem bigger than real. Nashville kind of took that spot in the country's view over the last 20 years. So my whole thing was I want to be Nashville, and I want to be part of the Nashville local scene. I don't want to be the big guy on the front row in Kroger that's all over the state selling the Nashville flavor. I don't think that that's what I am. I'm a small business in Nashville that sells curated and handcrafted hot sauces.
All right. That is.
And try to support the music scene as much as possible as well.
That is Clay Maddox, owner of Nashville Heat Sauces. He was joined by Chris Chang, co-owner of Hot Sauce Nashville. I want to thank you both for being here. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Jeremy Lister will stick with us through the break. When we come back, we'll talk about heat levels and how to achieve that spice. Plus, we'll do a taste test, and I'm getting a little nervous, y'all. Do you have a funny story about local hot sauce that took you down? Tweet us at This Is Nashville. We'll be right back. I'm Khalil Ekulona, and this is Nashville. Hot sauce is really having a moment here in Nashville. We've been talking this hour with local makers about how they got their start and what's behind this growing trend. Now, you can't talk about hot sauce without talking about spice, something my next guest knows a lot about. Nirup Prabhakar is the owner of 615 Chutney and Kaloriville in Mesa, Kamal. Nirup, it's good to have you back to the show.
Great to have you back. Great to come in.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
That's right. It's good. It's Friday, y'all. It's good to have everybody here. Now, you don't make hot sauce, but spice is a large part of your cuisine. Tell me, how does spice show up in your food?
Yes, spice is actually part of the Indian cuisine. The British came to India for the spices, so India was a major spice route back in the day. So we have the source of black pepper and red chilies, and we also have the Thai chilies there. Mm-hmm. So we use a lot of all these in our cuisine, maximum.
So you offer 5 levels of heat
Yes.
for any dish offered at your restaurant.
Just like how the British called it the spice route, I also call my spice levels spice routes. So each one is based on the routes that run through Nashville.
Okay.
24, 40, 65, 440, and 840. These are mild, medium, spicy, native, and I want to get chutneyfied.
I want to get chutneyfied.
Yes.
Is the highest level?
Yes.
All right. I'm a little nervous, y'all, but it's going to be fine. So, do customers ever regret their order when they come in?
In the beginning, it used to be like that. Everybody was always thinking that Indian food is spicy. But I have made it a point that I tell them that Indian food being spicy is a myth. And I try to make them understand and feel comfortable about the spice levels that we have. So I always say it's always better to have a little spice when you eat food. So even a mild food will have a little bit of spice. So in the beginning, they are a little apprehensive about tasting the food. But once the mind is opened up and say, okay, when you tell them that the food is going to have a little bit of spice, they kind of dig in and then they enjoy the spice.
What spice level do you like?
I like medium.
Medium. That's the way to go. Okay, so what are some of the key components to a spicy dish for Southern Indian cuisine?
Southern Indian cuisine is by default dairy and gluten-free. So the heavy cream aspect is not part of the South Indian cuisine at all. So heavy cream is what cuts the spice off of any dish. So we do not add that in our food. So we add direct spice. So that's the reason why there's always spice in the food. So the main ingredients for spice in South Indian food is Thai chilies, dried red chilies, red chili powder, and a little bit of ground black pepper.
All right, I want to bring in my next guest. Chelsea Chang is the other owner of Hot Sauce Nashville, picking up where Chris left off. Chelsea, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Now, I understand you're the flavor expert at Hot Sauce Nashville.
I don't know if I'd say that, but I definitely enjoy cooking, and it's something that has become really something important to me, is cooking and mixing flavors. And so a lot of times, Chris, as you met, he's definitely our people guy. He just can create such great relationships with people. And I think sometimes I can explain the flavors, and I have that relationship with our sauces like that. So,
What type of flavors are you looking for when you're developing new sauces?
gosh, great question. Our original flavors are garlic, and pretty much a lot of our inspiration for this whole thing came from, we're huge garlic users. I pretty much, anytime I cook, at least go through a clove of garlic, if not more. So for that one, we really wanted garlic to come through. So usually it's trying to blend out that where you really get the spices, you really get some other flavors in there besides just heat, but then you also get that heat that gives you just really nice tingling sensation in the back of your tongue when you're kind of finishing out the hot sauce on your dish.
Now, your husband, Chris, talked about how your travels have inspired this hot sauce mission of yours. Are there ingredients that you've discovered from different areas that you incorporate into your sauces?
Absolutely. For example, our green sauce, that was actually almost totally derived from the time when we lived in Colorado. Colorado and New Mexico rely a lot on their hot sauces on using hatch green chilies or other types of green peppers.
Oh, yeah. I lived in New Mexico. I know about the green chilies.
That's a whole, entire thing, is that hatch green chili. And we actually did get our hands on some last year and did a derivative, which was awesome and really fun for people who knew hatch chilies. But yeah, our whole green sauce was brought about because of that love for green peppers that we discovered out there. So we use only green peppers in that. We use serranos, jalapenos, and then bell peppers, that it gives you that nice, tangy, zesty kick that a lot of those sauces out there would give you.
If you're just tuning in, this is Nashville, and I'm your host, Khalil Ekulona. We're talking this hour about Nashville's growing local hot sauce trend. All right, so I see you all have brought some of your sauces and food for us to try. I'm excited, but also a little bit worried. Our executive producer has offered to tap in if I have to break, and I may call her up on that, but I'm game, everybody. So we are using a choice of potato chips, corn tortilla chips, and saltless saltine crackers for this tasting. We have milk and water available as well. So let's start with Chelsea. What do we have here?
So we have each of our three flavors, if
Okay.
you are interested in running through them.
Yes.
What I would probably start you on is the green I was just talking about.
Okay.
So that's our great kind of medium flavor. It's a great intro for people who don't know if they like spice, but then we also have people who love spice who really enjoy it too. It's got a tangy, zesty kick, great on fish tacos, really great. on eggs. A lot of people use it in their breakfast in the morning. It's also great in like a white chili. So
Okay.
let us know what you think.
I am giving this a shot. The crazy thing is, it's forcing me to eat just one potato chip. Didn't know that was possible. Here we go. I'm trying the green.
So it's got a tangy, a lot of times people ask if there's lime in there. It kind of gets this citrusy kick that those serranos mixed with the vinegar really kind of bring forward.
This is delicious. It definitely reminds me of New Mexico. Perfect on breakfast burritos.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely wonderful. Okay. All right, Jeremy, we're moving.
Well, since you're on the green, we'll give you our green as well. This is the jalapeno business, and this is made with poblano, Anaheim, and jalapeno.
You're giving me the jalapeno business.
Jalapeno business.
I'm a little scared.
Oh, it's not bad. So the name Blister, our last name is Lister, and we're brothers. So Blister, we had to use that. You know, it was a gimme. But this is like a 2 out of 10. Like the kids love this
Is it
hot
2
sauce.
out of 10?
Yeah, it's not very spicy.
Come on, you guys are
got this.
underestimating
Oh, trust me.
me.
We're gonna bring the pain a little later. But it's nice and smoky. You know, that's kind of our profile.
Very smoky. It's delicious. Oh, man. All right, cool. Narup, what do we have? This is great.
I brought chicken chettinad, which is the very basic when you get inside South Indian cuisine. I've got the 5 different levels. Which level would you want to try? You want to get chutneyfied today?
You know what? Chutney me, man.
All right, let's go. It's called the 840 level. It's got excessive green chilies, red chili peppers, and a lot of black pepper with curry leaves in it.
Okay, here I go.
This is straight to the hot, huh?
Woo!
He's getting chutneyfied today.
Oh, man. Okay, y'all. If you don't hear from me in 30 seconds, somebody call the police. Here we go. Okay, immediately. First of all, this is delicious. And I can feel it. Okay, yeah.
Got a little sweat coming out, maybe?
It comes down.
All right.
It hits you as you swallow it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, so tell me what makes this so hot?
Well, basically, it's green chilies or Thai chilies, as we call it, and that's what starts off with the spice level. But then this is a spice level which was introduced only because I was in East Nashville. Native is the maximum that anybody is supposed to eat, but East Nashville, my patrons there always complain that native is not spicy enough.
Okay.
So I had to invent this level. So this one has a little extra chili flakes, a lot of green chilies again, more red chili powder.
I love it, and I'm going to get a T-shirt that says "I've been chutneyfied."
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, we're doing that. Chelsea, round 2.
All right, round 2, I'm going to send you with our original. So that's our hot garlic sauce. It is going to step up a bit on heat, but you're still getting a lot of flavor.
Okay.
So you got some habaneros in there. And then we slow roast some red jalapenos with it, along with some bell peppers. So that kind of slow roasting habaneros, as y'all talked about earlier, are a very hot pepper, but they also have a really nice fruitiness to it. And so that'll come through also with that, obviously, garlic in there. You'll get that nice kind of savory flavor.
Okay.
So good.
Hey, do you guys want to try some of these?
Oh, yes, I've had all of these, but I'm glad to have some. Pass me some of those Lays.
It's potato. Ooh.
Isn't that good?
Ooh.
This is delicious.
Oh, good.
Oh, okay. Breakfast, eggs,
Absolutely.
all day long.
Yep. Chicken. You can use it in chili, or even like sometimes I'll want to spice up my spaghetti, just throw a little bit in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man.
Yep.
Okay. Jeremy,
Also,
round 2.
Our original. This is going to be ripened jalapeno, ripened Anaheim, and ripened habanero. This is like a 5 out of 10, 5 or 6 out of 10.
5 out of 10. Okay, hold on. Let me cleanse my palate.
Also nice and smoky, but has a little sweetness and the fruitiness of the habanero pepper.
Now, is it important to shake your...
Ours especially, it's a thicker. I think not quite as thick as y'all's, but it's thicker than most hot sauces. So I shake mine up in Once you get to the middle of the bottle, the dropper works out well. But at the beginning, I take the little dripper out.
Now, how should they be stored? I've seen people with hot sauces in the refrigerator, which I feel like is weird, but there's people who keep it room temperature. How do you suggest they're stored?
So with our hot sauce, it's kind of a natural preservative. It's going to have a very long shelf life, so you can easily keep it outside of the fridge. But if you do decide to put it in the fridge, it like triples or quadruples that. So if you don't eat hot sauce very much, maybe put it in the fridge and it could last years, you know. But ours, just even at room temperature, would last a couple years. I think,
This is absolutely delicious, Jeremy.
Thank you.
And I don't know if it's that hot sauce in particular or what's it called again?
That's just the Blister Original.
The Blister Original. I don't know if it's the Blister Original or the collective hot sauces, but I've got to take off my coat. My jacket is coming off. Narup, hit me round 2.
Well, I'm going to reduce the spice level a little bit for you this time. So we're going to do a spicy one so you'll know the difference between 840 and 65.
Okay. Oh, man. This is really great, everybody. This is why I love my job.
This is a good day.
Mm-hmm. All right. This is 65. Okay, so this spice is really present.
Yes.
Like as soon as it came into my mouth, I felt it.
Yes.
Oh man, I said that on air. But you know, it's absolutely delicious. Where the chutneyfied, it took some time.
Yes.
For it to come in.
It is a spice level that is built up. You need to build your palate to accept that spice level. So 65 is a safe spice level where you can still have spicy and enjoy some flavors as well. So South Indian food actually hits the back of your throat, you know, after you eat. That's when you feel the spices.
Yes.
So, but flavor is always there when you bite into the food.
Man, okay, I want everybody else to get chutneyfied. And it's vegan, right? Because you're vegan, Jeremy.
This is chicken.
This is chicken.
Oh, it's chicken. Okay. Well, Chelsea can get chutneyfied.
I'll give it a go.
Oh, we're totally going to do this. All right. And while you get chutneyfied, Chelsea, tell me about the third sauce we're about to try.
All right, so this sauce is probably our most unique sauce. So I think Chris was talking about it a little bit earlier. It's our hot ginger sauce. Again, we love those habaneros, so you're going to find those in there.
Okay.
But on this one, we slow roast some carrots with it, which adds a little extra sweetness. And then we have some bell peppers in there as well, that ginger, garlic, and onion. So this one is by far, if I had to choose one I like to cook with the most, it's this one. It adds a really great flavor if you're doing any type of, like I love mixing it into a lo mein sauce, putting it into my stir fries, love it on salmon. So those are, it just has a kind of different, unique flavor to it.
Wow. That's really good. You know what I love about all your sauces is that they stay with you. Everybody, it's aromatic, and it stays with me. I'm totally overloaded in hot sauce right now, but wow, that is absolutely wonderful. I can see like doing something like mixing that with a glaze of broccolini or something.
Yes,
with a nice like bitter vegetable. All right, Jeremy.
All right, this is our Punisher.
Okay.
I say this is like an 8 out of 10. It depends on sometimes peppers, the spice level sort of. Each batch may be a little bit spicier or less spicy than another, but this is the second hottest pepper in the world, which is made from the Carolina Reaper, and we call this the Carolina Weeper. Oh, the bottle's fun. It's got a nice little skull on it, but it's a pretty hot one. But it's also delicious. It's like for people that like hot sauce, it's not all just spice. It tastes really, really good. And I would think like the chutneyfied, it's like one of those creepy sauces that kind of keep building and building, and you're like, oh wow, this is really delicious, but makes you want to eat more. But it's the more you eat, the more spicy it gets.
Pass it to this side. Yeah,
Yes,
you know,
I'm excited to try
it
that.
definitely sounds very intimidating, but I've been chutneyfied, so let's do this. Here we go.
Love the smell.
Oh man, wish me luck.
Good luck.
Thank you. This is a lot. Okay, this is wonderful though. Here we go.
It's a slow burn. Let me have a little of this too.
Ooh. It okay. Okay, I'm feeling that. Man, Naroop, Chelsea, what do you think?
Oh, I love it.
I love it too.
I love how it's encompassing the whole mouth.
It's in the mouth. Yeah.
Really good though. But you still get all that. That's what I love about like your sauces and a lot of local sauces. They really focus on flavor. So you get that good heat, but then just you taste all those flavors, the nice smokiness. It's really nice.
What would that go well with?
Chili, gumbo, a lot of stews, and some people just also, if they like, spice, they'll put it on pizza and tacos. It's kind of like depending on the level you want to go with the medium or hot. The original and the Carolina Reaper have a similar profile, but one's just quite a bit spicier.
Man, you guys rocked my world. I want to thank you so much. Thanks to all of our guests, Naroop Prabhakar from 615 Chutney, Chelsea Chang with Hot Sauce Nashville, and Jeremy Lister with Blister Hot Sauce for being on the show and burning out my taste buds, but it's so delicious. I love it. We want to thank everyone who tuned in this hour. Monday marks the day that activists carried out the first sit-ins in downtown Nashville back in 1960, protesting the segregation of our city's lunch counters and other businesses. Tune in. This is Nashville is a production of WPLN News and Nashville Public Radio. Listen back at thisisnashville.org or wherever you get your podcasts. Okay, the sauce is really catching up to me. Our producers are Steve Harouche, Rose Gilbert, and Magnolia McKay. Our digital lead is Anna Gallegos-Cannon. Michaela Elias is our technical director. Our executive producer is Andrea Tudhope. The masterminds behind our theme music are Laurent and Namir Blade, and the conversation doesn't end here. Tweet us at This Is Nashville. Find us on Instagram and let us know what show you want from our show, by filling out our quick survey online. This is Nashville. I'm Khalil Ekulona. I will survive, and we will see you on Monday, everybody. Be good to each other.